ask you, what's one word you would use to describe yourself before Zepbound? What's
Before
a word
Zepbound.
before you start taking Zepbound? How would you describe
You mean myself as far as it relates to the
your
weight?
weight? Yes.
That's a good question, Diva. That's a good question. How would I describe myself beforehand? I think.
Hello, and welcome. Today I have with me Ange from Zepbound Journey with Ange. I have her here today, and I'm so excited to talk to her. How are you?
Hello. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yes, and I feel like we kind of know each other, but we don't. I remember following you and enjoying your content over this last summer, and I just thought, wow, I got to interview her. So, Ange, tell us, first of all, welcome.
Thank you. So nice to be here with you. I've been following your journey as well, and it's nice to see your beautiful face on camera and to talk with you. And so I'm excited to be here. So thank you for the invitation.
You are welcome. Thank you for coming. So let's get right into it. So we want to know, Ange, tell us, first of all, tell us about yourself, tell us about your background, and then let us know how you started your Zepbound journey.
Okay. So I feel like I'm just an average girl, I'm like I'm a wife, I'm a mom of a teenager. I have a teenage son. So this is different. And he's our only child. And he's very curious. And so one day I was walking the dog and I left my medication out on the counter, the pen. I'm on Zepbound. And I did not know he was doing this, but he took the cap off. And because he was curious to see what it looked like. And then he put the cap back on, but he didn't line it up. So it bent the pen, it bent the needle. So I grabbed it when I came back from walking the dog, washed my hands, got myself prepped and everything, and went to give myself the injection, and the pen was bent. So I posted that in my community, and everybody's like, "Take him down! He's gonna jack him up, and jack him up." And then some people are like, "Let him live, please let him live."
I say let him live too.
Mm-hmm. So I've been on this journey for a little over a year. I started just a little bit over a year. When I first went on a GLP-1 medication, it was Ozempic. It wasn't Zepbound. So when I first went on, it was Ozempic. But I'm somebody who struggled with my weight pretty much all my life. Since I was 7, I've been a chubby kid and an obese person. But I was very active. Like I was a cheerleader. I was doing all the things. I was just a plus size person. And in 2009, my weight just became too much. Like I have a smaller frame. I'm 5'2.5", so I'm not really that tall. I like to say I'm average height, but everybody else in my community are like, no, we're taller than you. And I know you're part of the littles too. So
I am.
So
I'm proud.
What'd you say?
I'm a proud part of the littles.
Yeah, I'm a proud part of the littles. And so at my highest weight, I was 332 pounds, and I was starting to suffer, right? So I, had high blood pressure, my knees hurt, my ankles hurt, my legs were always swollen, and I was like pre-diabetic. And so my doctor was like, we have to do something about this, So that's when I was afraid of surgery, but I was like, I'm going to opt in for surgery. And I was afraid of the gastric bypass. So I wanted to do the band, but the doctor said, you're really not a good candidate for the band because you have way too much weight to lose. And typically on the band, you're not going to lose as much weight. And so he's like, I'll give you the choice, but I would not recommend that you go on the band. I would recommend you do the gastric bypass surgery. And this was before the sleeve got really popular. This was in 2009. So I had the surgery done. I had the band, and initially, in the first 6 months, I lost 50 pounds, right? And I went with my girlfriend to a support meeting of, all bariatric patients. I had my first surgery done at Temple University in the hospital. So I went to a support group, and there was a lady there. They were going around the room saying, how long have you been, when was your surgery? How much have you lost? So everybody was sharing. And they got to me. I said, oh, I have the lap band, had my surgery done, 6 months ago, and I've lost 50 pounds. I was all excited. I lost 50 pounds. And then there was an older Black woman there, right? And I don't know if your community knows, but sometimes older Black women, they feel like they can just tell you like it is, right? Like they're your aunties or your grandma, like they can just tell you like it is. So when she got there, she lost like 100 pounds or 80 or 100 pounds, something like that. But she had gastric bypass. And so when she looked at me, she said, how much weight did you lose? 50 pounds? You had surgery and you lost 50 pounds in 6 months? She goes, you need to work out, right? And I was with my best friend, Lorna. And I said, I just did, because part of my culture, like you don't talk back, right? You don't, you just say, okay. I said, but you do know I had the lap band, right? I didn't have gastric bypass, so I'm probably not going to lose as fast as you because you had gas. She goes, no. You need to work out. So after the meeting, I'm walking home. We're walking back to the car, and I'm offended, right? I didn't say anything to her there, but I'm offended. And I was talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, how dare she? Like, what a nerve that she's telling me 50 pounds is good. Like, what is it? And my girlfriend said, she's right, Ange. You're not working out enough. Like, you really should be losing more weight. And now, you ever have a friend like that? I mean, they're really a good friend. They tell you the truth. And she told me the truth, right? And so I started kicking it up a notch, right? I started working out and on a regular basis, like what you're doing. And I was in the gym 5 days a week, and the weight started coming off. And so on the lap band, I lost 157 pounds.
Wow.
And so my doctor said, can you come in and be like that girl, like the girl that stands next to the other patient? There was 2 patients. We would go to Temple University and we would talk about our journey, right? And he said, because you lost so much, you had so much success on the band, that's not typical. We want you to share your experience with other people. And then the other lady who had gastric bypass, she would share her experience as well. So I did well for about, I would say like 5 years. I was able to maintain that on the band, but it was restriction. So I couldn't eat a lot, on the band, but it never dealt with the brain, right? It never dealt with the brain. So eventually I started gaining the weight back, and I'm an emotional eater. So when things happen in my life, like I lost my mom in 2016, and I gained 40 pounds in like 2 months. And so eventually over the course of 2009 is when I had the band. I had a lot of success on it. I maintained it for 5 years, but then 5 years after that, I started to creep back up again. And before I knew it, I was over 300 pounds again. And so this time I said, okay, I'm going to do the gastric bypass. I was afraid of it. But I was like, okay, I feel like I don't have a choice because my health is getting worse. And so I had it at the University of Penn. I had the gastric bypass surgery done. And I thought, this is it. Like, this is my ticket to freedom, that no more will I have to worry about dealing with being obese, that this is going to work for me because, I mean, how could it not? Right. Well, I had the gastric bypass surgery and I lost 30 pounds. That's what I did. 30 pounds again. And I felt like, did I really have the surgery? Like, I don't have, like, I had more restriction on the band than I had on gastric bypass. I could eat like a hoagie. I was like, how is that possible? And the only thing I could think of is maybe from having the band, it damaged nerves or something, and I couldn't feel it. I don't know. Like, no, they did the, they do the, when you drink the fluid and they coat your stomach and you, I forget what the procedure is, but they look at how you're doing. And they said there are no leaks. The surgery is fine. Like, everything's good. I don't know why you can eat a cheesesteak, right? But I could.
The doctors couldn't figure it out even.
No, but I could. So that was in 2019. So 10 years later, after having the band, I had gastric bypass surgery, lost 30 pounds, and then started creeping back up, gaining again. So that's when, in what was it, like last year, I met with my doctor, and and it was. I share this often that I needed a doctor who was really compassionate and understanding, because I felt judged all my life for my weight.
Yeah.
I felt like, it was always something there, right? And I felt like I wasn't beautiful, I wasn't attractive, and I couldn't wear clothes. And I started to become a recluse. I wouldn't go out really, and I wasn't enjoying life. And so I was sitting with the doctor, and I knew she could see my charts, right? She could see the history of all the things. Like, oh, you had, she's like, I see that you had gastric bypass, and before that you had the band, and did you have the band removed? And I said yes. And she was like, okay, you're in this category, and blah blah blah. And I just started crying. I like just started, and she said to me, because she said to me, I felt ashamed that I went through all these things and I'm still struggling with my weight.
Sure.
And she came from behind, because they're always like typing on their computer, putting all the stuff in and checking, are you still on this medication, are you this, and
Right.
she came from behind her computer, and she sat with me. And in bariatric spaces, they have those big chairs, like a double wide chair. And she sat next to me, and she held my hands, and she looked at me in the face, in my eyes, and she said, obesity is a disease. It's not your fault. Obesity is a disease, and we're going to fight it like it's a disease, and now you
Yeah.
have us, and I cannot tell, like, I just wept. I just
I'm
cried,
sure.
because in so many areas of your life, you're successful. You're successful in business, you're successful in corporate America. You're doing all the things, you're achieving all the things. But the weight was the one thing that I felt like, this is just my cross to bear. Like, this is the thing that I think I'm going to struggle with forever, because I couldn't deal with this part, and I could do it for a minute, right? I could do anything for a minute. Weight Watchers, they're like, yay, Ed, you're down, 60 pounds. Congratulations. I could do it for a minute, but I couldn't do it long
Sustain it
term.
over time.
Mm-hmm.
So when that doctor said to you, obesity is a disease, did you feel a sense of freedom at that point? Like, did that shame and guilt diminish, or did you still feel that?
It felt like I was in the presence of somebody who understood me. It was a relief and a release too, because I felt like even like my closest friends didn't understand. Like, they're like, well, you still gotta, even if you take the medication, you still gotta work out and eat right. Like, just to eat right, and why do you have to take the medication, right? And I said, you don't understand. When you don't struggle, when food is not on your mind all the time. Like I said to my friends, like, you can go somewhere and see you could be at an event, and there's food, and you could see something that's your favorite dish, your favorite thing, and you could say, not tonight, I'll pass. And
Right.
I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't even really be fully present at an event, because I was thinking about the food. I couldn't be fully present having dinner with my girlfriends, or like, I'm thinking about the food. Even the planning of it, like, what am I going to have when we go to this restaurant? Oh, it's going to be so great. I was thinking about the food and not focusing on, I mean, I love my girlfriends too. We have fun, but food was a part of it, right? It was always a part of it. And I think that goes back to, I have Southern roots. I was born here in the Northeast, but I have deep Southern roots. And it's a part of our culture. Like, they're always feeding people. Like, I interviewed Jackie on my channel, and when she was here, I was feeding her. Like, I always wanted to make sure she was well taken care of, and that she didn't need for anything. She wasn't hungry. But that was like the first thing that you do if you come to our family's home. And if
Yeah.
you're too skinny, they're like, we got to put some meat on your bones. Like, come on in, right? But it was the way that we express care and love for each
Love.
other. And so the way I saw food wasn't that it was a bad thing for me, that it was good. It was a good thing, because the association was with love and care, and belonging. It was a very social thing. So trying to explain that to somebody who does not suffer from that, it is hard for them to understand. It's hard for them to understand. So it felt great to have somebody hold my hand and not judge me, because I've had doctors in the past who I would go to and say, my knees hurt or my ankle is killing me. And she would just say, you need to lose weight. You have too much weight on your ankle. That's why you keep coming in here every time telling me you're hurting, but you need to lose weight. And I felt like that made me feel bad, because I felt like if I could, I would. But the struggle, it just felt like so big. It felt like a giant. It felt like I'm trying to slay a giant.
That's a great analogy. Yes. I can
Mm-hmm.
relate to that totally.
And then when
So
you look at other people, when you look around at other people who don't have that challenge, like they could just walk by the thing, not eat it, or they can just go for a bike ride and lose 10 pounds, right?
mhm, yes,
It's hard when you're not in a community of people who understand. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create a safe space for us, where people are kind and compassionate and understanding versus judgmental, because we have enough of that, in society.
for sure, for sure. So when you got that first Zepbound prescription, how did you feel? Were you explained like this is how Zepbound is going to work, or did you have to figure all that out on your own?
Yeah, so when I first started taking Ozempic was the first one. When I first started taking it, I didn't know, like all the hype wasn't out there yet about how well these drugs work and all that. Like my doctor was saying, this is going to be good for you. This is new, like cutting edge medicine. It's going to help you lose weight. But I was hearing what she was saying, but I was like, not for me. Like, can an injection really work for me? Like, she doesn't understand. Like, I'm a tough case. And so I didn't take it seriously. I was like, I'll take it because she told me to take it. I wasn't one of those just stockpiling in the fridge. Like, I was taking it, but I was like, I don't even feel anything. Like, what is it supposed to be doing? Like, this isn't working. I was like, this isn't working, right? And she was like, just keep titrating up, do this, do this. She just telling me what to do. I was like, okay. And then when I went back to see her, and I hadn't been weighing myself, because I was like, why weigh yourself? Like, there's no change, right? When I went back to see her, I was 19 pounds down.
19.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute. How am I 19 pounds down? Like, I'm still eating, but I must have been eating less of the things. I didn't change my diet, but I must have been just eating less of, like, getting full faster or something. Like, but I wasn't consciously paying attention to the Ozempic because I wasn't taking it seriously. I didn't think it was doing anything because I didn't feel anything. Right. So, and then she said to me, like, how do you feel? Do you feel any different? Does anything change? And I said, it's interesting you should ask me that, because I was at the Staples shopping for, office supplies. And you know how you take your cart down the aisle, like the checkout, and at checkout, they had all the candy there. And I was hungry. Like my family was waiting for me in the car. We were going to go have lunch in about an hour, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing all the things that I would normally just grab a bag and put it in the cart because you're right at the checkout. And I would snack on it. And my rationale would be, well, you haven't had breakfast. You're hungry. So it's right. Okay. But there was something different this time where I was able to look at it and say, well, I'm going to have lunch in about an hour. I'll just wait. That never happened before. So I told my doctor, because she asked me the question, and I was like, that never happened before. I was like, that has to be the medication, because that's not me. Like, I would have grabbed a couple of them, and I would have been eating it in the line and said, can you scan this?
Yeah.
So she said, so after that, not too long after I was taking Ozempic, we were no longer able to have it because I'm not a type 2 diabetic. I don't know if you remember when that changed, right?
Yes.
FDA said, no, you can't use it for weight management. It's for diabetics, type 2 diabetics. So then my primary care doctor put me on Saxenda. Saxenda is also made by Novo Nordisk, but in the trials, like you don't lose as much weight on that. So I started taking that. And she said, I know you're not going to lose a lot on it, but I still want some of this in your system. I want you still taking something to help you until we can get, So I was prescribed Wegovy, but we couldn't get it. So for 8 months, we couldn't get it. And then after that, and my insurance would cover Wegovy. But then after we couldn't get it, then I decided to just pay out of pocket and get the Zepbound.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very good. So how much do you pay out of pocket?
So when I first started, I thought I was going to pay. When I first started, I thought I was going to pay $12.50 a month, because that's what my pharmacy charges here, $12.50 a month. So we were bracing ourselves for that expense. My husband was looking at me sideways, like $12.50 a month. Like I'm used to paying $5, $3.87 for
Right.
my prescriptions. And he said, do you really think it's going to work? Like you want to pay $1,250 a month for the medication? And I said, I feel like it's like my last resort. Like I feel like what, and so I, in anticipation of that, I got rid of my car. And we were down to one car, and both of us worked from home anyway, so it was okay. But I love that car. So I got rid of that, and then I went to go fill the prescription, and I got the savings card. And with the savings card, it brought it down to $550. So I was grateful for that. So I just started paying $550 a month. But I felt like $550. I mean, we were able to swing it, but I don't know for how long. And I know that there's so many people out there who are struggling to get the medication, and it's prohibitive because cost prohibitive for many people. So I was paying $550, but praying that I could one day get approved and only pay $25, right? So eventually it took 3 or 4 months of appeals and just resubmitting it, and they finally approved the Zepbound, and I was doing well on it. I was losing about 10 pounds a month. So I was doing well on the medication. And so they approved it, and now I pay $25 a month for
So that persistence paid off.
Yeah, and I tell everybody, just keep sending it in and question, like, why wouldn't you do it? Initially they said, well, we're not doing that because Wegovy, you're prescribed Wegovy. And I said, yeah, but I can't get it. I've been on the wait list for 8 months. I can't get it. And they're like, well, we don't know a lot about Zepbound. I was like, well, Zepbound is the same as Mounjaro. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
So just the pushback, I was like, and I'm on it and I'm doing well.
Oh, very good. I love that you spoke up for yourself and advocated along with your doctor. I think having a great doctor on this journey is so important. This is an example of why. Yes. So tell us about the side effects. So you get the Zepbound, you're taking Zepbound, you're losing 10 pounds a month. Are you having side effects with it?
So that's a very good question. So for the most part, I did not have side effects with the medication. One of the things that I tell people who have never had it before, there are things that can happen, right? You can have constipation, diarrhea. You can have any of those gastrointestinal issues, right? Tummy issues. You can also feel nausea with it as well. But I didn't have that. I think in a year I had constipation twice. But when I did have it, it was severe. Like I was like, whoa, now I understand what the people in my community are talking about. And so I took something for that. And I was very careful about making sure I'm drinking plenty of water and I'm doing the things I'm supposed to be doing. But I've been really fortunate I don't get nauseous really. And the only issue that I had, which was really bizarre, was I was getting these itchy bumps, right? Like if a mosquito would bite you, right? So it was on the back of my calf. I had this itchy bump, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, where was I that a mosquito bit me? That's what I was thinking initially. And then I would have it like on my arm, my forearm, or the back of my neck. Like I'd have like these itchy bumps, and it would really be itchy. Like I'd take sometimes for it. And my doctor said, that's strange. Like most people just itch at the injection site. So she's like, so I'm going to give you some cream for that, right? So the cream did not work. Benadryl worked. And I didn't know it was that until I started talking more about it on my channel. And other women started saying that they had it too. They're like, yeah, it's like a mosquito bite. Yeah. And I was like, that's from the medication. So, but it subsided over time. It subsided and it doesn't happen anymore. But those were some of the side effects that I experienced.
Wow. I wonder what made it stop. If it was going up in the dose or what.
I don't
Yeah,
know. And
yeah.
it happened, I would say I had it through like 12.5. I'm on 15 milligrams now. I'm at the height, the top of it. But I don't have it now. I guess my body just has gotten used to the medication.
So you were on 15. So tell us the process and the decision to titrate up each time, if you can remember. I don't even think you started at 2.5, did you?
No,
No.
I didn't because we knew that my body could tolerate GLP-1 medications because I was on Ozempic in the beginning and then Saxenda, right? And then I went on to Zepbound. So I started at 5 milligrams. And that was like, she was like, don't even worry. My doctor is great. She's like, don't even worry. I know you're probably not feeling a thing on 5. We're going to get you up there. So I did 5 for like a month and then we titrated up to, did I do 7.5? I'm trying to remember now if I did 7.5 or if I jumped straight to 10. I can't remember. I think I might have just jumped to 10. And 10 was good. 10 was doing the job, right? 10 was when I was like, oh, I'm not even hungry. I could work all day and I have no food noise, right? And I always say that beast was on a leash. I was like, my stomach would be my stomach would be growling and I would be like, okay, you're going to eat in a minute. Just relax. Go sit down. Take 2 seats over there while I finish my live video, right?
So so 10, you think 10 was more effective as far as your food noise and appetite suppression than 15 even?
Yes. I think
So why
10
didn't, so
was.
this is the number one question then. Why didn't you stay on the 10?
So I went up to 12.5 because of the shortage. We couldn't find 10 anywhere. Couldn't find 10 anywhere. And so I talked to my doctor. She's like, okay. And she asked me a slew of questions before she titrates me up. And so I would have stayed on 10 because everybody's like, stay as long as you can on those levels. Stay as long as you can. I would have stayed, but I couldn't get 10 and I didn't want to go down to 7.5. So I went to 12.5 and 12.5 was great too. So 12.5 worked well too. And then I titrated up to 15. And some of my friends went on 15. They're like, oh, 15 was too strong for me. I had to back off. I had to go back down again to 12.5 or 10 because 15 was like, whoa, so powerful. But not for me. I'm like, where's that at? Like, I don't feel that at all. And I don't feel like I have food noise now. Not nearly what it used to be, but I feel like I have it. It's not that beast is like right there, like, well, what you gonna do now? What you gonna do now, right? So I'm able to manage it. I'm able to manage it, right? But it's not, and I don't know if it hasn't fully kicked in. Like I have good days where I feel like, okay, this might be doing its job, and then I have other days like, really, like, is it really working today? But I know that because I was off of it for like a month, dealing with like trying to get it and all the different things, and I know that it makes a difference because although I haven't been, I'm at a stall, haven't really lost a lot of weight now. I know that I would have surely gained. I would have surely gained had I not been on it. So I almost feel like I'm in a maintenance stage right now, because I think it's just my weight right now is like at a plateau, but I'm not gaining, and I think that it's due to the medication.
So are you doing all the things? Because a stall is when you're doing all the things you were doing before and you're not losing, right? You're doing all those things you were doing before when you were losing 10 pounds a month, but you're not losing. So have you changed anything? What are you eating? Which was my next question. I was going to ask you to tell us
Yeah.
what you're eating. Are you getting that protein in? How many calories? Do you count calories?
Yes, I do not count calories. My nutritionist wants me to have 120 or 120 grams of protein a day. And I'm between 1550 and I'm supposed to be between 1550 and 1800 calories a day is what my intake should be. No, I'm not doing everything that I need to be doing. And that's why I think there's opportunity for me to continue to lose. I want to be 100 pounds down, like all y'all, girls out there. I want to get to 100 pounds down, and I think I can. I just need the consistency with my workout routine. In a perfect world, I work out 5 days a week. Do I work out 5 days every week? No. I work out 3 days, right? I'll work out 5 days the next week, right? But I haven't had the consistency, and I think that has a lot to do with my mindset. One of the challenges that I had early on, and I still struggle with, is wanting to feel normal, like having a desire to be like my friends and my family and my husband. And sometimes I'm like, I just want to be normal. Like I just want to, and the medication does help you be more normal. But there's an issue with me in my mind that I feel like I don't want to have to count calories. Like I want to be able to go, and I want to be able to push away from the table when I'm no longer hungry. I want to be able to, go on vacation and not gain 15 pounds, right? I want to be able to do all the things that my friends can do, and it's not an issue for them. I want to be able to live my life without food noise. But, the reality is that this is something that even with the medication needs to be managed I think I'll be on the medication for life. I think it's something, and I know people like get to their goal weight and then they titrate lower and lower and they get off of it. I don't think that's going to be me. And I think I just have to remind myself every day that this is a disease that you're struggling with. And that even though you have the desire to be quote unquote normal, where you don't even count calories, I don't need to count calories, right? That I really do. And many people from the from the community are like, Ange, count your calories, right?
Mm-hmm. I think, a lot of us have calorie counting fatigue, I call it. And I think a way you can do it is just count for the week. I tell people that don't really want to count for the week, because now I have memorized what the calorie count is and what the macros are, because I eat the same thing for a week and then I'll change up for a week. It's for a week. Just get a week of a plan. You count those calories for the week, and then I call it rinse and repeat. Just rinse and repeat. And eat those things or take pictures. They even have, and I don't know the name of the app, I would have to get it to you, but they have an app where you take a picture and it calculates the calories. And so you don't have to do anything at all. And I said I was going to try that. Yeah, see how accurate it is. That would be something that's really convenient, where you could just have it in there and do that in 3 days even. Start off small and then maybe work your way up. But eat those repetitive things. Now, I've heard people say, I don't want to eat the same things. I think you got to be willing to do something different, especially if you're in a stall,
Yeah, I think I do need variety, because I do find myself eating the same thing over and over and over again. And I do want variety in my diet. But for me, my biggest challenge is here. This is my biggest challenge of here. And I've been, I'm a woman of faith, and I, read my Bible, and I know that I need to renew my mind every day. Because if I don't, then I'll say I'm normal. I don't need to count calories. I don't, I'm good. Right. And so I need to know that every day, you need to take care of yourself. Every day you need to feed yourself well. Right. And so those are the challenges. Like it's not a perfect ride. And I even share on my journey on my own channel that I'm not perfect. Like, and I feel like I'm a really tough case. But if I can lose weight on it, I feel like anybody can lose weight on it. And I don't feel like the medication is intrusive. It's almost like you don't even, for me, it's almost like you don't even know it's there.
Yes. Well, I think so. Are you open to seeing and then maybe you do already talk to a therapist or a psychologist about the mental mindset part of it? Because I think that's huge. I think, I'm at the point where my mindset is so focused. And so that helps, right? Because that's where it starts. It really does start in your mind. And so I think maybe if you had, and I'm sure this, having a YouTube channel and being on YouTube helps with that. But
Mhm.
you're supporting people and you probably are taking in feedback, but at the same time, you're supporting people. It's like being the caretaker. Somebody needs to take care of the caretaker too. And
Mhm.
so I think if you have somebody you can talk to about these issues and about how you say you don't want to not feel normal, you want to feel normal. But I see people who I know as normal, but their normal is loving to exercise. Some people just love it. They love count
Wow.
calories. They
I
love,
know.
that's not me. They love it. So for them, that's their normal.
I'm
I
like,
think we
I'm like,
all,
my favorite part about working out is when I'm drying myself off with a towel and leaving. When
it
I'm
really
drinking my
is.
water, like, cause I'm done.
But to
That's
some people, that's their normal. They love that extra. They wouldn't be able to survive or function without it. So, yeah, I just think you have to talk to somebody. And once you get that going, that mindset shift, you're going to be consistent and in there. And that's a challenge, especially too when you've been losing and then you stop. It's like, how do you deal with those feelings?
Mhm.
So we have a lot to process. I mean, this weight loss is a job within itself, isn't it?
It is. It is. It really is. But I think one of the best things about being on this medication is I haven't lost hope. Right. In the
Yeah.
past, I've been like, I had the surgery and I'm still gaining. Right.
Yes.
And in this situation, I feel like, okay, and I've talked to people in the past, and I think I've had fatigue with that too. And I've been in programs, I've done all the things.
Okay. Okay.
So I think for me, it's more of a spiritual journey. And so that's why I said I need to renew my mind every day. And I need to remember who God says I am. And I need to treat myself with love and kindness, because oftentimes my focus is not on me. My focus
Sure.
is on everybody else, right? My focus is on making sure everybody else gets what they need. And, and many of us women are like that. But I find that my focus is like, run, do it, get it done. Even for my community. And I took a break from my community for about 6 to 8 weeks. I took a break because I didn't have the capacity. There were so many things happening that I just needed to breathe. I just needed to take
Mhm.
a breather and not feel like, because it's easy to get caught up and feel like, oh my gosh, I gotta create content, content. And so I gave myself permission to deal with what was going on in my family and with my friends, and to really breathe through that. So what I will say is that the awareness is there, and for me, I think it's more of a spiritual journey, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I have to do, but I got to do it consistently.
Yes, yes, yes. So I want to be praying for you. I know when the struggle is in the mind, it's not as easy to pinpoint. Like you can say, lose weight or exercise or eat this or eat that. It's a little bit of a different journey with that. So you'll get there, though. I think you'll get there for
Yeah,
sure.
I can
So
see it. I can see Wonderland.
yes,
I can see it.
yes, oh yes, it's coming. Now, I remember you getting up and showing us your fancy little clothes. So what have
Mhm.
you done with the clothes? Because tell us, how much have you lost with Zepbound?
So I lost a total so far. The most I lost was 68 pounds. I was trying to get down to like 70 something. I think 68 pounds, and I've gone back and forth between 68 and maybe like I haven't weighed myself today, but like 68 and maybe 58. Like that 10 pounds I keep going back and forth on. So that's the most that I've lost, which I was really happy about that. And one of the episodes that
Great.
I said, thank you. I said that I wouldn't be having any more surgeries. Like I wouldn't have anything else done. If this is the most that I lose, then I'm happy with. I do feel really good in my skin and in my clothes. Of course, I want to lose more weight, but I feel okay, right? So if I didn't lose another pound, I would be okay. Like I just don't want to gain any more back.
Right, yeah. And you look great. You look great.
Thank
So
you.
what did you propose?
So we did. So I did a retreat, and I had women come here to where I live in Pennsylvania, and we did like a cute little pop up shop, and they brought clothes that they could no longer fit, and I brought clothes that I could no longer fit, and we set it up like a little cute little boutique. and we all shopped. We had our shopping bags and we all shopped. And I'm telling you, those girls, they brought, I think I was the biggest one there, so I could fit a lot of the clothes, right?
I love that.
So,
Yes.
yeah, we just swapped clothing. I heard about that years ago, and they used to do it in bariatric like hospitals, support groups. They would swap clothing because they didn't want to keep buying and they were losing so fast. That's what I did with the clothes. And I
Well,
love
that's,
clothes. I'm very
I
much a
know that's
girly
one
girl.
of the
I love.
best things about slimming down, right? The whole clothing part of it. I'm at 68.8, so we're around the same amount lost, which is great, right? And my goal is to get to lose 100 pounds. That's my next goal. So where do you want to end? I don't know if you're thinking that far ahead. I know you said you want to get Wonderland, but ideally, where would you like your
Yes.
end goal to be?
So my nutritionist said that, because I asked her, where do you think I should be? Like on the BMI chart, it said I should be between 118 and 141. She goes, no, 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 no. She's like, don't even worry about that. Throw that out. She said, if you could get down to 170, that would be good. And I know 170 would be great for me because when I lost weight on the lap band, I lost 156 pounds, 157 pounds. And I went down to, I was 176 pounds. And at 176 pounds, my friends were like, you know, that friend that I told you should tell you like it is, and she's, a really good friend. She said, you don't need to lose any more weight. Like, you look perfect. Don't lose any more. I was like, oh, but I could like I was like a 12, maybe I could squeeze into a 10 that it has stretch, right?
Right.
And I was like, I want to be a perfect 10. I want to be a perfect 10. And she's like, you look fine just the way you are. And I'm a shapely woman. I have boobs, I got hips and all the curves. And I like my curves. So at 176, I felt really good and very attractive in my skin. And things were happening to me that I had never experienced because I've been a chubby person since I was like 7. So when men were like, you're like one guy who was like, he was like, all the women would be like swooning when he come through. And he said to me, he helped me put some things in my car one day. This is before I met my wonderful husband. I was a single girl back then. And he helped me put some things in my car. And he paused and he just looked at me in my face, like he was like, saw my soul, right? He's like, and he said to me, he's like, you are a beautiful woman. And it took my breath away. Like I didn't know how to respond to it. I just said, thank you. I closed the trunk of my car. I hopped in and sped off.
I love it. I love that.
And all I could say when I got home, I called my mom, and all I could say is, Mom, he said this. He said, you're beautiful. And she goes, but you are a beautiful woman. And I said, but no, you don't understand. Like the way he said it, like he meant that, what he said.
That.
And she said, but you are. And I said, you would say that because you're my mom, right? You could say that. But for me, growing up as a plus size person, I never led with that. Right? Like some people could just use their beauty and their charm and all. But I was like the smart kid, right? I was the kid that, like nobody was, I was going to the parties, nobody's checking for me, right?
Right, yeah.
So losing the weight and getting the attention was surprising.
I can understand that for sure. Mm-hmm. So when you met your husband, were you this 176 or were you a bigger lady?
I was smaller. I was smaller.
You were smaller. Okay.
But I won't say it was his fault, but he just kept taking me out to eat. Like he just kept taking me all these places. He's like, let's go this, let's go try this, let's go this date, let's go that date. So when we got married, my weight crept up from 100. Let's say I met him at like 176. When I was trying on gowns to get married, I was 190 pounds. And then I got a trainer because I was trying to get back down again. But I was 190 when we got married.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. And so
that wasn't the girl he met. He never saw me. He never saw me a plus size girl. I mean, 176 pounds. If I showed you pictures of me, like I was curvy, but on the charts, it's still overweight, I'm sure, for my height. But he never saw me 300 pounds. Like he had never seen that before. And it just gradually just kept getting, more and more weight.
But he supports you and he loves you. It sounds like you guys have a great relationship and that support from him, which is awesome. I mean, and I gotta ask you too, now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't ask this as a question, but so did you ever replace the car? What's up with the car? So you traded in your car, you turned in your car, you got the Zepbound. Whatever happened? Are you still with the one car?
No, we just got a new car. We only have the one car. We might eventually get another car because sometimes I call him my driver, right? I call my husband my driver. I'm like, I'll give you 5 stars if you show up on time to pick me up, right? So,
Love
but
it.
he works from home, and I was working from, a full-time entrepreneur, and now I have like 15 jobs, and I'm doing
Yeah.
that. So where we live in a very walkable community. I can walk down to Wegmans. I can walk to dinner, like all the things. So right now we just have the one car. But I love that car. Like that car, I ordered that car. It was a special order. I've never done that before. I literally went online and
Wow.
said, I want the black label. Like I want
Yeah.
it to have this and this and this. And now it calls and says, my car ready. They're like, it's
I love it.
they would email me like, this is what we're doing. We're installing this right now. It's coming along, So anyhow, no, we just have the one car, and financially it makes sense, right?
That makes sense. It sounds like it now that you explained it. I totally get that. All right, so I want to ask you. Let's give some advice to the newbies out here. What advice would you give to anyone starting a GLP-1 journey, specifically Zepbound, because that's what you're taking?
Yeah. So specifically Zepbound, but I've taken Wegovy too because I was on
Right.
Ozempic, right? I would say number one, don't be afraid. Like, don't be afraid to take the medication. Oftentimes, it's fear that keeps you from taking it. And I know a lot of people in my community are stockpiling it. Like, you're getting it, it's coming in, but you have not taken one dose. So I would say, don't do that. Take the medication, try it, right? And it's not for everybody. So you might try it and you feel like you can't tolerate it, but most people can. So I would say take the medication. The second thing I would say is that the needle is not as bad as you might be thinking, right? Like I found like it's nothing. I don't know. Did you find that there was an issue with the needle?
I did not. I made that face because I felt the same way. I thought it was going to be an issue, and it actually is just not. It's very unproblematic. I don't even
I
notice
have
it
to
really.
look and check. I have to look and say,
Yeah, to make
did
sure you did
it
it.
prick the skin? Like, did it prick the skin? So I would say that's not really not, even if you kind of have a phobia of needles. So some people are like, I could never take an injection,
Yeah.
never. I would say try it. It's not bad. What else would I say? I would say everybody is different. So it's easy. I know we both of us have looked to the left and looked to the right, like, dang, they're 100 pounds down. Like, I want to be 100 pounds down. Like, just know that you got to run your own race. Like, everybody's different. Some
Yeah.
people are super responders. We have people in our community that they just boom, 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 knocked out
Yeah.
the weight. You might be like me, like you might be challenged with, your mindset, or, you might have issues with food noise, and like everybody's different. What I would say is listen to yourself first. Like, your body, if it's feeling okay, if you'll get a sense. To me, and this is my experience, I knew when it was time to titrate. I knew what my body could tolerate, and I was always in communication. I was always in communication with my doctor about it, because some people are like, don't do it, don't go past 2.5. Well, some people can lose all their weight on 2.5, but that's not me, and that might not be you, right? So you got to run your own race, and I do feel like I'm at peace. Like, I do feel hopeful, and I feel like I'm gonna go get down under 200 pounds. So I would just say, just take your time, and slow and steady wins the race. And I would say that, if you gain weight 1 week, it's okay. Like, don't beat yourself up about that. If you gain weight, just think about what you did. Like, for me, it's like, I didn't weigh and measure. I didn't count my calories, maybe. But kind of look back and think about, okay, what happened that week, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't gain any and you didn't lose any, that's a celebration, right? You didn't gain weight, because probably in your life, if you're anything like me, you probably are always gaining, right?
Yeah.
And then I would say, if you lost weight, which you will on this medication, you will, even if you're a slower loser, you will lose weight. I would say celebrate all of it. I mean, every time I lose weight, I try some clothes on. Right? I'm like, because I have clothes in there that are a little bit too tight, and I'm like, let me see if I can fit into these pants. Let me see if I can wear this dress, right? And I would say find things that make you happy. Like for me, I like that. Like I like going shopping, and I'm not a big shopper all the time, but I do like to like put perfume on. I like girly stuff. So if I go shopping in my closet, right, and try on a dress that I couldn't fit before, or I was barely squeezing into it, but now it fits fine, like that green dress I'm always wearing. Like I couldn't even get it zipped on the side. I couldn't even get it over my boobs. Like I could not get the on. So things like that are find things that give you joy in celebrating outside of the food, right? So for me, before it would be celebration with food. And now it's like, okay, let me see if I can wear that outfit, or let me buy myself some perfume, or let me do something, nice for myself to celebrate the win.
I love that. Great advice. Great tips too. I love that. I would just want to ask you, what's one word you would use to describe yourself before Zepbound? What's
Before
the word
that,
before you start taking Zepbound? How would you describe
you mean myself as far as it relates to the
your
weight?
weight? Yes.
That's a good question, Diva. That's a good question. How would I describe myself beforehand? I think I was starting to lose hope. Like I think I was starting to feel like that's not for me. Like this is gonna be. I don't know if there's one word for that. I don't know if I felt hopeless completely, but I did feel like I don't know, like almost like this is gonna be my, this is gonna be my story in life, you know.
Yes. And so tell us, what word would you use to describe yourself now after taking Zepbound and having that Zepbound experience?
And let me just say this too, like that's how I was feeling around the weight, but my life as a whole, I wasn't feeling that way, right? Like my life, there were times like we talked about earlier where I was becoming more of a recluse because I wasn't like, it was like, okay, if I go someplace, how far do I have to walk? Are there chairs? Can I sit down?
Yeah.
Like, all those things. But as a whole, I had a family that I love, and that I had work that I enjoy and clients that I adore. So I felt like my life was full and good, but it was that one piece that I couldn't resolve, right?
Yes.
And now I would say, like, one of the things I feel like that I am resilient. Like I'm somebody who, like, I've been through a lot in my lifetime that people would never know, because I'm filled with joy all the time. And I think that has to do with I think it has to do with my faith. I think it has to do with, the makeup like that God gave me. I think it has to do with the gratitude that I have for, for surviving some of the things. And so I would say I'm a resilient woman, right? And I would say I'm absolutely brilliant, right?
Yes.
I feel
And
like
brave, bold.
Yes, I feel like I'm able, like there's a light inside of me that, God allows to shine,
Yes.
despite all the darkness, right? Despite all of the challenges and, things that you've been through. I remember somebody said, like, how are you always so bubbly? And I was so like, and I said, this is naturally me. And I think it comes across on our videos. Like people know,
Yeah.
you just can feel it. You can just sense it. And she said, why? Like, how are you like that? Like that? They're like, we just love it. It's infectious, right? I was in this group, and I said, I just feel like I'm really grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful to have the life that I have. I'm grateful to have these opportunities. I'm grateful that God gives me ideas and I'm creative, and I get to
Yeah.
serve other people. And so all of that makes for a really rich life. And I would say the word that I would use would be resilient, because I had the ability to bounce back after a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
And so because of that, like, I feel like I have a light that can shine in any dark place.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And that's why I say you're going to have that mental breakthrough in the mind shift with this weight loss, and you just got to be patient and don't give up, because if you give up, you'll never know when you get there. So, but I know you're not going to give up. You'll get there. So I want to ask you a couple more things. So what's the best thing? What is the best thing about being on Zepbound for you? And what do you think the worst thing is?
Um, the best thing about being on Zepbound. So, okay. So I created my channel so that I could document my journey, right? I had no idea I
Mhm.
was building a community. Like, I thought a
Right.
few people would come, but I didn't. It just wasn't something I was really thinking about. I was just thinking about, like, can I document it and see how I'm doing, and then watch back
Mhm.
and see the changes in my body and all. I would say one of the best things about being on Zepbound is, one, being able to lose weight without white knuckling it, like being able to lose weight in a way that it is not, that it quiets the noise in my brain. And I always tell everybody that restriction was not enough for me. I could, the feeling of fullness that this medication gives is not enough for me. Like, that's good. Okay, that's good. But I could still eat. I can still eat when my stomach is full. So for me, it was what it did to my brain. And what it did to my
Yeah.
brain was to quiet the noise and take the focus off the food. And so I think that if the drug did nothing but that's a part that I would want. Because
Yes.
if my brain is quiet, it doesn't matter if my stomach is full or empty. I can still make choices. I can still make good choices with the medication impacting my brain. So that was a really good thing. And the other thing that I want to mention is the community. Like, I didn't really know how to do YouTube. Like, I had been on YouTube a little bit years ago when I had my lap band surgery. I did a few
Mhm.
episodes then, but that was so long ago, and I didn't really know how to treat the platform, right? Right. So I just treated like, y'all, all my friends. You want to come on live with me? Come on in, like, And in the process of sharing my journey and being vulnerable and being honest about, not being perfect on this journey, I started to build a community. And
Yeah.
we still have a small channel. But they're wonderful people, community. And I love the ladies. I love you. I love all the ladies that show up and share their experiences. They're vulnerable too, and I love that we have. I mean, you've created this too, a very safe and compassionate space,
Yes.
a very kind space. And I always say that, in this space, I see you. And oftentimes in the world, I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel heard. I didn't
Yeah.
feel seen. I didn't feel valued. And I could be the biggest person in the room, but it's almost like I'm invisible, right?
Yes.
Um, but not in this community. Not in this community. So I would say that's one of the best things. That was something that was unexpected, because I didn't anticipate that. And then I started meeting all these wonderful people, and then I started to be able to meet them in person, right? Inviting them out for a retreat, and then, getting a chance to spend time with them in person. And that was just a gift to me. And I had Jackie on earlier this week for a live Q&A, and I had her on and we did a recording together. And she said she had such a wonderful time when she came, but I felt so blessed to be in her presence. Like, you know how you just meet someone and they just have such a sweet spirit. You're like
Yes.
that. You're in talking to you. You're like that too. And
Thank you.
I just felt so. You know how, like, you feel like you're doing something for somebody,
Yes.
but doing something for you,
So for you,
right?
yes. I
Yeah,
love
and so
that. Well, that was
So I'm
so
just
great. I hate
great.
to ask about a worst thing because it's a worst thing on Zepbound.
The worst thing about Zepbound, I would say that more people can't get it because of the cost. I
Yes,
would say two things that kind of that bother me. One is that it should be accessible to everybody who needs it, no
exactly.
matter their financial situation. They should be able to access the medication. That's one. The other thing I would say is people who judge them, and people who don't struggle with their weight or with the disease of obesity don't understand. And I would just say for those people, if you're watching it, if you pull your husband in and say, you need to watch this episode, I would say have some compassion, because it's hard to explain what it's like when you have the disease and you cannot control yourself as much as you try, and I would
Mhm.
say don't judge the person. I would say love them, support them along their journey, celebrate them. Um, but that's something when I hear people who say you don't need to be taking that, you don't need to. It's really none of their business. You know,
Yes,
I say you need to advocate for yourself. And you and I were talking about, oh well, you don't know what this drug's going to do a year from now. You don't know what it's doing to your body, but you do know what is going to happen if you don't take the medication, right?
yes.
And so that's the thing that I would say I don't like. I don't like people who speak in a non-supportive way when they don't struggle
With the weight loss
with
themselves,
somebody's
for
shoes.
sure.
Yeah, you don't struggle with weight loss. You don't have an issue, and because it comes easy to you, you think that it should come easy to everyone, and that's just not the case.
That is not. All right, so we're almost done, but I have to ask you to play this word association game with me. So, well, really, you're just playing it. I'm asking you. that-
Okay.
so, I'm going to say a word. I'll say a word, and you
Mhm.
don't have to explain it unless you feel compelled to. Just tell me the first thing, and I mean truly, the first thing that comes to mind when I say the word. Okay?
Okay.
All right. YouTube.
Oh, fun partnership community.
Eli
Mine,
Lilly, known as Lily.
what's
Eli Lilly, known as Lily.
that? Lily, Zepbound.
Compounds.
Mm, challenges.
Exercise.
Um, oh, dread it. Dread it. And the people who love it, like I don't understand you people. But it's good
Family.
fun.
Family.
Oh, adore them, love them, want to hold them tight.
Wonderland.
Oh, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you.
Okay, and final word is future.
Oh, bright, brilliant, bold, brave. Uh,
Yes, I love it. I love it. All right, great job. Great job. So tell us, you touched on this a little bit, but before we go, you have to share your YouTube channel with us. Tell us about your YouTube channel. Where can we find you? Just tell us anything you want to share because we want to subscribe to your channel and we
mhm.
want to hear about what you're doing on Zepbound Journey with Ange.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, and for sharing my channel. So it's Zepbound Journey with Ange. And you can find me on YouTube. That's my platform. I'm there. And it's a nice community. Like we mentioned earlier, it's kind, compassionate, and very honest. So I think you'll like it. So if you aren't already following us and not subscribed, please do so. I built my channel. I started it in February 21st of 2024. And I monetized it in 45 days. So I was surprised by that, but I just kept making content and people came. And one of the things that I encourage people to do, it's not for everybody, but I honor you for having your channel. I think that people need to hear your voice. People are curious about your journey. There are people who are afraid, and they need to follow somebody. And you're a leader in this space. And you might say, well, there are all these other people doing it too, but nobody's going to do it the way you're going to do it, right? You have your own style. You do fun things on your channel, like this word associations. You had the myth game. You had all kinds of fun relationships, all kinds of cool things that you're doing. You're so creative. And so, I want to honor you and what you're doing and building your own channel and attracting a tribe of people who are excited to see your videos. And so I encourage people, if you've ever felt in your heart that I wish I could, I want to share my story. Like I want to get up, I want to inspire and encourage other people. I think I could motivate them, or I want to document my journey too. Don't be afraid. It could be a little scary to put yourself out there, but I encourage it. I encourage it. And anybody who comes on my live, I'll say, put your channel in here. Put your channel in here so they can follow you too, because it's kind of like, I feel like some people think it's competitive. I feel like it's like sunshine, right? Like you don't say, oh no, the sun is out. Like, no, sun is just for me. No,
Yeah.
the sun is not just for you. Like everybody can have sunshine. And there are different people. There are people online who might not be able to hear my voice, but they can hear you. They might say, oh, she's not my cup of tea. But then they love the Downsizing Diva, right? So it's important, I think, if you have it in you, to show up and shine. I always say step into the light. And it doesn't matter like where you are in your journey, because you can help somebody no matter where you are, right? When I first started, I was almost 300 pounds. And I've been 300 pounds before, so I know what that looks like. So I was just, a few pounds under that. And so I showed up on camera, right? And I started sharing my journey. And it encouraged me to hear other people's stories and what they were struggling with, and how, what I was doing was impacting their lives. And so I encourage your audience, if they have it in them, to do your own channel, and then you can monetize it. You can do other things.
I love that. And it's free to subscribe. So, subscribe to Downsizing Diva, subscribe to Zepbound Journey with Ange, hang out with both of us, ladies. And, everybody, I've learned that, being on YouTube myself, I was watching people's videos and not subscribe. So now I'm careful. I make sure I subscribe, to the channel, and just to support and watch the videos, and, try to make the comments when I can. But I am watching and learning. And don't you learn from your tribe over there? That's the best thing about it. Yes, I love that, learning from other people.
Like there's that Ange. Did you go to the gym this week?
They're holding you accountable.
Yeah, they hold me accountable. So it's good, but it's like a family. I feel like it's like a family.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So, and I love seeing, we don't have a lot of men in our community, but I love it when the guys show up. And I always say we're a community of brilliant women, and we have a few
good men. Yes. That's what I say about my Friday night lives. Like, I need a few good men, not a lot, just a few good men there, so I can relate. Well, Ange, it has been awesome chatting with you. I just love this. I love this. I'm so excited.
I can talk to you all day.
I loved it. I'm excited. So don't forget to subscribe to Zepbound with Ange, and we will see you. I want to say we won't say goodbye. I'll say see you in the next video. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Bye.